All right, y'all, welcome back to the Healer University. I am Black Angel, and today we are going to be doing a class on Meridian channels and Nadis. Meridian channels and Nadis. So before we get started, we want to start with our usual, which is the grounding. So at this time, take a deep breath in the nose and out the mouth while commanding your higher self to connect you to the earth vortex with the intentions of grounding. And you can go a further step in placing the Raku, the lightning bolt symbol, directly in the center of the body to assist with grounding. Ashe. Now, while you all are grounding, we're also going to be connected to the divine light so that our crown chakra is connected to the divine to receive any messages and to be just connected and centered. And we also, at this time, going to call in our divine support team, particularly for the intentions for divine protection and guidance throughout this class, okay? So again, calling your divine support team, feel their energy, feel their presence as they come. And of course, we thank them for their time and energy for being with us during this session, Ashe. Right, I feel their energy, it's all cooling and tingly, yes. So before we get started, one of the things when we talk about channeling any type of energies or moving any type of energies, hydration is always going to be most important because hydration, the water, helps the energy to flow, helps the energy to move. So if you haven't drank any water prior to this class, I would say go ahead and get some now and take you some sips. You don't have to gulp a lot, but you want to drink some water so that it can go into the body to go where it's needed to make sure that energy is able to flow smoothly, because the type of energy we're working with tonight are going to be channels. And because we're talking about channels, we're talking about flows of energy. So make sure you're hydrated. And when you're doing this on someone else, you want to also make sure they are hydrated as well. I always say start the hydration at least 12 to 24 hours before the session. But if it's below that time frame, that's okay, as long as there's a little bit in. Now you probably want to drink too much, because if you drink too much, then you or your client may have to use the restroom during the session, and we probably don't want to have to break the session up for that. But at least just enough to at least get the body somewhat hydrated for the energy to flow. Okay, so preparing the space is just like we've done in the previous classes, right? We want to make sure our space is cleansed. We want to make sure our mind, body, and soul is cleansed and clear from any, outside energies, and even any internal energies that may not be good. And we want to do the same thing for our client, for them to prepare their space and to make sure that it's a space that's protected, that's cleansed, that's quiet, and just suitable for doing any types of healing and cleansing. Okay, so it's very important to, again, remind your client to have a space prepared to be able to work. Ashe. So to assist in starting for today, I'm going to assist with using a Tibetan bell with the intentions of clearing and cleansing our spaces of any energies that may interfere with this session. So when I tap the bell, that's going to be the intentions. You may feel the vibrations through your body, and you may also feel it around you. And hopefully, the area that you're in, you may also feel it, the vibrations and the energy get lighter. Ashe? All right. So that may have felt a little intense for some, and if it did, that's okay. It probably was needed. All right. So now that our space is cleansed and cleared, we are ready to start our session. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into scanning. But before we go into scanning, let's just show some pictures on what the Meridian channels look like, and then we'll go into the Nadis after we're done with the Meridian channels. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and bring up the Meridian channels. So while looking at this diagram here, this is an example of what the Meridian channels look like in the physical body. Now, when you Google or look this up yourself, and you can find different images, and sometimes even with different names of the Meridian channels, right? So when you look it up, find one that suits you, that you feel comfortable with working with, so that you can use it as a guide. Okay. I don't believe that we all have to memorize these things by heart. It's okay to have cheat sheets or guides to look at when we're helping people heal. Now, one of the things that you may want to take note of is that you can even, print off something like this and use it when doing distance healing on your clients, right? And even when you're doing healing in person. One of the things I like to do is I have a picture of Meridian channels on my iPad, and I use my iPad to actually do the distance healing when I pull the picture up on it. So you can even use a device like an iPad or some type of tablet to actually do distance healing from a picture, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, as you look at these Meridian channels, you will see that most of the Meridian channels start at the head and they go all the way down to the feet, most of them. And then there are some that may start at the head and then they go down to the hands. So these flows of energy, I like to look at as like fiber cables. If you understand how a fiber cable works, a fiber cable shines light from one end to the other end, and that light sends messages. It sends digital messages from one device to another. Well, you can look at the Meridian channels the same way. You can also look at the Meridian channels kind of like blood vessels or arteries or veins, right? They carry blood from one place to another. So in these Meridian channels, they also have what I call, minor and micro meridians, or they could also be called collateral and subcollateral channels as well. Basically, what this means is that from the main Meridian channels, there are these smaller and really smaller channels that spin off from the main Meridian channels to other parts of the body. So just like with the circulatory system, you have the major veins and arteries, and then you have blood vessels that sprout out from those main vessels that goes to different parts of the body. Same concept. So when we talk about cleansing and clearing, it's going to be more so with intentions, looking at the Meridian channels and sending the energy, the cleansing and clearing energy through those channels so that the flow of energy can flow like it should. Now, one of the best ways, at least one of the best tools to use when cleansing and clearing the Meridian channels is going to be selenite. Selenite crystal, if you remember, has the ability to open and remove blockages in the physical body, to get the energy flowing. So when you think about the physical body and these Meridian channels that are in the physical body, then we understand that selenite will be perfect to use to channel through each meridian. Now, when I have done meridian cleansing and clearing and healing, most of the time I don't focus too much on one meridian, but I just do all of them at once, okay? Again, using a diagram like this as a guide, you can channel all of that selenite energy through every meridian channel all at once, so that you can just clear them all. Because healing and clearing one meridian channel and not the other will still keep the body unbalanced. So it's just best to clear them all at once so that, you know, that person or yourself can have that energy flowing as it should. So if you have your selenite crystal with you, we're going to use the selenite. And if you don't have selenite crystal, I want you to just use your hand or your fingers with the intentions that you're using selenite energy, okay? So that means in your hand or at the tip of your fingers, you want to put intentions that as I do this circular movement clockwise, I'm going to be pushing in selenite energy through every meridian channel in my body, right? Now, again, you can use this diagram on the screen as yourself. So whatever you do to the diagram, it'll happen to you. So now, before we do this, I want to back up just a little bit. Before we do this, let's do a scan. And before we do our scan, just like in any other energy healing, we want to make sure that we're not wearing any jewelry or anything that can interfere with the energy flow during the session. So taking my necklace off, taking my keys off, and I am cleared. All right. Now, taking a deep breath and relaxing, ask your higher self to scan your meridian channels from head to toe so that you can feel where your meridian channels sits in the physical body. Now, also during this scan, if you feel any pain or pressure anywhere, that can be a sign that that's a blockage in that particular meridian channel. So again, at this time, take a deep breath and command your higher self to scan your meridian channels from head to toe, Ashe. Okay, so as I was scanning, I did feel in the head, I felt it going to the left side, to my shoulder, and then all the way down on the outside of my arm. So that tells me that one of the meridian channels going towards the outside is one that I may have to focus on, which looking at the diagram for me, it looks like it may be the large intestines meridian. That's what I felt. Now, another way that you can scan for meridians for yourself or somebody else is creating a pendulum chart, right? You can create a pendulum chart by writing down all the different meridian channels, the major ones, and then you can use your pendulum to see which meridian channels need, you know, the most work. And that's how you can separate. That's another way you can separate which, you know, which is which. I also felt down my leg as well. And I felt to the outside of the leg, looking at the chart, that looks like that may be the stomach meridian. So that kind of goes in line with the large intestines meridian, right? So that lets me know I need some work on my stomach meridian and large intestines meridian. So, and again, you can use a chart to verify, you know, using pendulums or dowsing rods or whatever kind of divination tools that you like to use to see what meridian channel are you actually feeling at that moment. Okay, so now that we have felt the meridian channels and we felt what they feel like, whether they're good or whether they're bad, you know, blocked, now we're going to go into cleansing and clearing those meridian channels. So again, I'm going to pick up my selenite, and you all can use your hand or you can use your fingers or any other crystal that you may be drawn to if you don't have selenite, maybe even black tourmaline because it's the purification stone. Yeah, so with a clockwise motion, meaning I'm going to go clockwise to push energy in, I'm going to push energy of selenite into each meridian channel through my entire body. So sending selenite energy through every meridian channel within my body. And that includes the major, minor, and micro. Ashe. Now, once you push the selenite energy into the meridian channels, just sit back and allow the selenite to do its work. And you can just take note of what you feel as it's cleansing and clearing. Like any other sessions, you also want to pay attention to any messages you get, whether it's images, whether it's a picture of an organ in your mind's eye that comes to you, or maybe you may hear which part of the body that's being negatively affected. Now, if you've been dealing with any phantom pain, this may be one of the reasons that phantom pain is there. It could be the blockage of the meridian channel. So as I sit here and allow this selenite energy to cleanse my meridian channels, the word that came to me, and we're not doctors, we're not here to diagnose, but the word I heard was fibromyalgia, which means fibromyalgia could be coming from blocked meridians. Because again, usually fibromyalgia deals with pain in the body and the muscles, just randomly through the body, and typically there's a source where it's coming from. So as I'm feeling it being cleansed and hearing the word fibromyalgia, to be something that we can use to assist in healing and assist in healing fibromyalgia, and maybe helping someone be more comfortable to have a better quality of life for anybody who may be dealing with it. Now, just like any other areas where flows of energy has to be open and has to be balanced, meaning it can't be too open or too closed, and it has to be balanced in such a way that the energy flows as it should. So that means just like a chakra, we don't want our chakras, off balance or too open. The same thing for our meridian channels. Want to make sure that they're open and balanced at the right opening and pressure needed for you individually. So this can be done through intentions. This can be done through intentions. And so this is where we command our higher self to open and balance our meridian channels for our highest good. So again, calling your higher self, command my higher self to open and balance my meridian channels, Ashe. So now you're going to feel a shifting of those meridian channels where the energy may be stagnant before, you'll start to feel the energy flow open and then be able to flow easier. This also may get rid of some of that phantom body pain as well. And just remember, when we're talking about the meridian channels, even though we're looking at the major ones, we also want to also ask ourselves to also include the minor and the micro meridian channels. All the meridian channels that sprout out from the major, we want to make sure they also are being open and balanced as well. Shane? Lastly, we want to send healing through the meridian channel. Healing through the meridian channels. That way, if there's any part of the meridian channels that has maybe some type of hole in it, or some type of leakage, or anything that's preventing the meridian channel from flowing and doing what it's supposed to do, we want to send divine healing through the meridian channels to heal them all. So again, we can use crystals, we can use something like selenite, or we can use something like citrine, because citrine is good for the physical body when it comes to healing. We can also use rose quartz and maybe even amethyst to channel through the meridian channels for healing. Or if you are Reiki, you can send Reiki through the Meridian channels, or you can just send your divine healing that you're gifted with through the Meridian channels. Now, Reiki works, but also divine healing to me is a little bit stronger. So I always like to use that, get the job done. You can even mix it with the divine healing and Reiki as well. The divine healing just means that the healing is going to be divinely guided where it's needed. So it's similar to Reiki, but because it's coming from source, it tends to be a little bit stronger than Reiki. But again, mix the two. So at this time, I'm going to command my higher self to channel divine healing and Reiki through my Meridian channel to include the minor and micro Meridian channels. Shay. And about healing your micro or healing your Meridian channels is that during this process, I have felt a lot of movement inside the body as these Meridian channels are being adjusted and balanced and healed. And I even noticed that some of the places, especially in my head, a lot of pressure went away. Places that I had hair pressure just completely just went away. I also feel my stomach, my abdomen, not as bloated as before. It's way less bloated. It's like I have more space now in my stomach. I feel my sinuses opening more. Just felt just open, and I can breathe more clearly through my nose. So as you can see, cleansing your meridian channels can really help any type of illnesses and any type of sicknesses you might be dealing with. Sometimes that's all that's needed is to heal those meridian channels. Now, these meridian channels do work with the chakra system. So healing the meridian channels along with the chakra system can do wonders. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your self healing on others. If you're gonna do the meridian channels, do the chakras. If you're gonna do the chakras, it's still good to do the meridian channels as well. Now, when doing these meridian channels, right, what you're going to notice is they're not going to be healed like within 5 minutes. The healing of the meridian channels will continue until the healing is complete, even if it takes a day or two. And just like when doing any healing of the chakras or any other parts of the body, you want to make sure that you or your client drinks water after the session to release any toxins that may have been freed up since that those channels are now open and flowing. Okay, your body will naturally detox after a session like this, so you want to make sure you're drinking water to flush those toxins out of the body. Ashe, just keep that in mind. Okay, so before we go on to the Nadis, is there anyone that is willing to come off mic and just explain or just talk about a little bit of what you felt? Did you feel a difference? What did you experience during this healing cleanse of the Meridian channels? And then, of course, any questions? Go ahead.
So for me, most of this energy took place in my legs. So I forgot which meridian channel that was already, but I think you said the stomach one, if I'm not mistaken, which is interesting because the past couple of days, my stomach has been a little weird. So this is like right on time, right? And I wasn't in pain or anything. It was just like this uneasy feeling. Okay, so as I did it, I felt so much energy. Like it just felt like everything was just moving and almost as if like the energy was bubbling. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just like a lot of movement. And when we just did the last thing, sending I did the Reiki mixed with the divine healing energy. Oh my God, that was like being injected with like immense peace. Like the way that felt, like it just went all through my body, and it started with my legs first, and I even felt it going up my back. And I was like, oh, that was beautiful. So I definitely felt the difference. And my legs is one of the areas sometimes I realize that it'll feel like the circulation sometimes be a little off. So I'm definitely gonna put this into practice because that was amazing. Thank you.
Ashay, thank you for that feedback. Wow, that was very in-depth. Thank you. And you mentioned something about when you talk about the legs. This may also help someone who's dealing with circulatory issues, even like water retention issues, because it usually starts in the legs, right? And people who may have restless leg syndrome, where at night, they can't keep their legs still, their legs do that jerking motion, maybe before sleep. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing that feedback. Is there anybody else who would like to jump in here? At least one other person? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, well, that's cool. All right, so hopefully uh, you all are getting some good healing out of this. And if not, that's okay. You can always rewatch and just, practice it again, maybe tonight, maybe before you go to bed. Okay, so let's go into the Nadis. Okay, the Nadis. Gonna share my screen for that. Okay, so the Nadis kind of weed in and out the chakras, just like the Kundalini. If you think of the Kundalini, that's pretty much what the two snakes that you see in the medical catechist represents the Kundalini, and the Nadis. Each snake represents one Kundalini or one Nadi, right? So you have three major Nadis. You have one that's in the center that goes along the spine, and that typically represents like your life force energy, which is what the Kundalini also represents. Then you have the left side, which represents the feminine and the moon. And then the right side represents the masculine and the sun. So when dealing with the nadis, usually you can tell when one is blocked depending on which nostril is blocked. So if you ever had an event where you felt like the left side of your nose seems to always be blocked, or the right side seems to always be blocked, that's letting you know that that particular nadi is that nadi channel, that channel is not flowing correct. And this, again, is also associated with your divine feminine energies. So when we talk about the left nadi, okay, that's the blue on the diagram, that's mental work, concentration, introverted mind, and sleep. And again, your divine feminine energies. Okay, on the right nostril or the right side, the right nadi, it's going to deal with vital energy, physical work, outward focus, and generates heat. Again, this is the masculine side, the divine masculine side. And each point that they cross deals with the chakras. If you go to the bottom, this will be the root chakra, into the sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, and third eye. And then, of course, the crown chakra sits on the top of the head. So when taking care of these particular nadis, it's the same way that you would do with the meridian channels. So if you were to feel yourself or somebody else's energy during a session, and you feel like they are blocked up on the left side of their face or their nostril, that should indicate to you that they may need cleansing and healing of the left nadi, their divine feminine energies. And then the same thing in the right, the divine masculine energies. So starting with the center, however, which is our life force energy, starting with the center, we're going to first scan the center nadi to check for any blockages or any, just to see how it feels. So again, command your higher self to scan your center nadi from head to toe so that you can feel it. And then we go from there. So as I scan my center nadi, what I noticed is that I felt a little bit of pressure right in the center of the nose. In my head, I felt a little bit of pain and went over to the right a little bit. So that's telling me that my center nadi can be being affected by my masculine nadi, my right side a little bit. I also felt pressure in my throat. So that means where the nadis meet and my throat chakra is being affected. And everything else felt pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to ask my higher self to scan my left and right nadi from head to toe. And if you feel comfortable, you can also have your higher self scan from the bottom up as well, however you feel comfortable. So in scanning my nadis, especially left and right one, I felt the pressure on the left side of my neck. If I look at the diagram, the left side of the neck is where the blue starts. So that's telling me that's my left, my feminine, divine feminine nadi. And I also felt a little bit of pressure in my left foot, down the bottom of my left leg, which if we go to the left leg here, that's also the feminine nadi as well. Okay, I didn't feel anything on my right side. So that says that my right side of my nadi is pretty good, but I need to definitely do some healing and cleansing on the left side. However, I'm going to do them all because why not? So just like when we did the Meridian channels, I'm going to start with selenite, and I'm going to send selenite energy throughout my entire nadi system, Ashe. And you can do the same. So as my nadis are cleansing and clearing, I'm feeling my left leg where I felt the pain earlier. I'm feeling like an expansion of energy as if the energy is starting to widen. So that may have been saying that the energy on that side wasn't flowing as good. I also noticed that I'm feeling in my left sinus over my left eye. I'm feeling that sinus opening. Okay, I'm also feeling my left leg, left hip, starting to feel some energy flow. And where they meet at the throat chakra, I'm feeling that starting to clear as well. So now at this point, I'm mainly feeling right around the sinuses, the upper sinuses. I'm just feeling a lot of activity going on up there as it's still working its way through and cleansing and clearing, which is at the third eye chakra where they meet. Now, at my third eye, the nadi energy, it feels like it's also clearing my third eye itself because I feel it from the front all the way to the back of the third eye. And it itches a little bit. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is we want to open and balance the nadis. We want to open and balance the nadis. So command my higher self to open and balance my nadis. Ashe. So starting at my legs, I'm feeling the energies again, shifting as if they are starting to widen and balance themselves. Now it's working up to my stomach, and I can just feel the shifting of the nadis being opened as it goes all the way up. Now at the top at my head, I'm starting to feel the shifting. Mainly, I feel it towards the back of the head, but in the front of the head, I don't feel that pressure anymore like I felt initially. And now, just like we did with the Meridian channels, we want to send divine healing and Reiki through the nadis so that they can be healed. Okay, remember, we want to now send divine healing or Reiki or both, or any of any crystals that you may want to send through with the intentions of healing the nadis. Ashe. So for me, I'm going to command my higher self to channel divine healing and Reiki through my main nadis. Ashe. So as the healing is going through, I feel a lot of tingling through my nadis. Feel a lot of healing and tingling going on in the back of my neck, back of my head, and the center of my head, and even in the sinuses. Now, it's also said that there's a total of 72,000 nadis in the body. Like these are the, when we talk about the minor and micro nadis, again, it said that there are 72,000 nadis. So instead of trying to figure out each of the 72,000, I simply asked my higher self to do the same thing to all 72,000 nadis. So you can command your higher self. I'm going to command my higher self to cleanse, clear, open, balance, and heal all 72,000 nadis. And what you may start to feel is this happening in all kind of random parts throughout your entire body where these nadis sit. Sometimes it can feel quite intense because there's so many nadis at once, but once they're done, it feels really good. So again, we're commanding the higher self to cleanse and clear, open and balance, and heal all 72,000 nadis. Ashe. Again, as this process happens, you may feel in random parts of the body, and it may jump around from one part of the body to another part, then back somewhere else. And you just want to let that process happen naturally. Let the higher self do the work for you. Same thing when you're doing this on the client. Just remind them that the process you're starting, but the process will continue to go on over the next day or so until complete. Okay. There's anybody willing to share? What did you experience during this process?
Oh, I was feeling all kind of tickles. Like it feel like when I get anesthesia, I feel like this weird feeling, and then I feel kind of itchy. So it felt kind of itchy but tickly. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's really cool. I'm not mad at it. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for the feedback. You know, that itchy feeling could be it cleansing the nadi, right? And sometimes when you don't have blood flow, you know, or oxygen flow to certain levels of the body or certain places of the body, once it starts to receive it, it can itch a little bit, just like when you do healing, like a scab. You know, when a scab starts to heal, sometimes it itches, right? Same concept. Sometimes it can create that feeling. Um, so good stuff. So as you all can see, when we talk about the meridian channels and nadis, this is more of the simple way that we can open, balance, cleanse, and clear and heal them. Okay. The meridian channels is what in Chinese medicine they use for acupuncture and acupressure. So when they put those needles along the body, they're actually putting those needles along the meridian channels. That's what they're using as a guide. So next time, if you ever, you know, get some acupuncture, which I've done it, and it was really cool. The needles don't hurt. Um, you can feel the meridian channels being opened when they put those needles in certain places of the body. So again, just like after any other session, you want to make sure you disconnect from your client and release the energies between you and them and close any portals. And then you want to make sure you ground yourself again. Shane? So I seen this come to me earlier, so we're going to do this. We're going to use my staff, and just to assist you all who are watching this, when I tap the staff, it's going to send cleansing and clearing, opening and healing, and balancing throughout the entire meridian system and our nadis. Ashe. And remember, there's other methods that you can also use. Oh, wow, feels good. So other methods you can use to work with the nadis. That could be using a pendulum or dowsing rods, using candles, where as the candle burns, you know, it cleanses them, and any other methods that you want to use. We're going to go into using divination tools to do healing soon. So when we get into that, that'll apply to this as well. So again, practice with using your higher self, practice with using your hands and Reiki. Like your hands may also be guided to be placed at a certain part of the body to heal the meridian channels and nadis. And then you can use external tools, like I said, like pendulums and dowsing rods, candles, etc., to assist you. So practice, 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 so that you can get used to what it feels like to cleanse and heal them. So that way, when you do it on other people, you can explain to them what they can expect, and you can be better prepared to be guided in healing those particular areas. Pay attention to what you feel over the next few days to see if you feel the difference within your body now that your meridian channels and your nadis are cleansed. And we will talk about it next time before class. So y'all have a good one. And we're going to end the recording here. Ashe.